Is Arsenal's title race under threat because of a string of red cards? And what does Mikel Arteta have to say about training his squad for playing with 10 men? Meanwhile, young star Myles Lewis-Skelly finds himself at the center of controversy. Was his red card against Wolves a bad decision, or was it justified? Plus, a Norwegian Wonderkid, Sverre Nypan, is making waves in Europe, with Arsenal leading the charge to sign him. In today's video, we'll dive into these hot topics and explore how these key moments could shape Arsenal's future. Arsenal has received more red cards this season than any other team in the Premier League, which is a major concern for a club competing for the title. Playing with 10 men in crucial matches puts them at a disadvantage, and while some of the dismissals have been fair, others have sparked debate. For example, the red card shown to Myles Lewis-Skelly against Wolves left many fans questioning the referee's decision. Despite these setbacks, Arsenal has shown resilience, adapting to difficult situations and fighting hard to stay competitive. The growing number of red cards has led fans and pundits to wonder whether Mikel Arteta prepares his team for playing with a man down. After a recent match, a reporter asked Arteta if Arsenal trains specifically for these situations. Speaking to Arsenal media, Arteta acknowledged the problem, but explained that the team has limited time for such preparations. He said, "How often? In game scenarios, we work on different situations like overloads and underloads, but we don't have time to train specifically for playing with 10 men. Most of our training is based on playing with a full squad of 11. Unfortunately, this season, we found ourselves a man down far too often." Arteta's response highlights the reality of Arsenal's training schedule. Ideally, they would never have to play with fewer than 11 men, but the frequent red cards this season have made it an unavoidable issue. While the manager and players are focused on playing their best football, these dismissals are forcing them into difficult positions. Looking ahead, Arsenal must address this problem by improving their discipline on the pitch, avoiding unnecessary fouls, and controlling emotions during high-pressure moments will be crucial. With the title race heating up, every game counts, and losing players to red cards could prove costly. If Arsenal wants to stay in the fight for silverware, they must ensure they finish matches with a full team as often as possible. Norway has a strong history of producing top footballers, with players like Arsenal's Martin Odegaard and Erling Haaland becoming world-class stars. Now another young talent from Norway, Sverre Nypan, is attracting attention from some of the biggest clubs in Europe. Nypan is an 18-year-old midfielder who plays for Rosenborg. Despite his young age, he has already played 60 first-team matches since 2022. This is impressive because most young players don't get that much experience so early. His performances have caught the eye of top English clubs, with Arsenal, Manchester City, and Manchester United all interested in signing him. Arsenal is currently leading the race. The club has a strong reputation for developing young players, as seen with Bukayo Saka, Ethan Nwaneri, and even Odegaard himself. Arsenal believes they can help Nypan grow into a top player. However, Manchester City and Manchester United are also competing for his signature, trying to convince him that they are the best place for his development. Nypan is known for his intelligence on the ball, technical ability, and maturity beyond his years. Many believe he has what it takes to become a future star. Because of his talent, he has become one of the most wanted young midfielders in Europe. For Arsenal, signing Nypan would strengthen their midfield and prove their commitment to building for the future. Meanwhile, City and United also see him as a key part of their long-term plans. Now, Nypan faces a big decision. Choosing the right club could shape his career. Wherever he goes, his future looks bright, and he has the potential to follow in the footsteps of Norway's greatest footballers. Arsenal's season has been a mix of highs and lows, big wins followed by frustrating setbacks. They've beaten strong opponents like Tottenham, but also dropped points against teams they should have defeated. Injuries have exposed a lack of squad depth, while the attack struggles with creativity and urgency. The biggest concern is their inability to finish chances consistently. Arsenal dominate possession and rely heavily on crossing, but this makes it easy for tall defenders to clear their attacks. When they slow down play, opponents have time to reset defensively, blocking passing lanes and limiting space. To improve, Arsenal must be quicker in transition, commit more players forward, and fight harder for second balls. Even when counter-attacking, they lack a reliable goal scorer to convert chances. The January transfer market is difficult, with few top strikers available. Many names have been linked, but Arsenal must act fast. Teams like Lyon, who are facing financial trouble, could sell key players like Ryan Cherky and Maxence Fofana, giving Arsenal potential reinforcements. As the window nears its close, they need to seize opportunities before it's too late. Despite their struggles, the future remains bright. Young talents like Myles Lewis-Skelly and Ethan Wannery show immense potential. Declan Rice is adapting to a more advanced midfield role, but needs to improve his direct passing. Arsenal must also consider offloading injury-prone players like Takahiro Tomiyasu and out-of-favor stars such as Kieran Tierney and Oleksandr Zinchenko to refresh the squad. While frustrations are understandable, this is not the time for panic. Mikel Arteta has built a strong foundation, and he deserves time to see his vision through. However, if he fails to win silverware within the next 18 months despite full backing, then questions about his future will be justified. For now, Arsenal must finish the transfer window strong, strengthen key areas, and push for success in the second half of a season. Football is unpredictable. Momentum can shift in an instant, and Arsenal must be ready to take advantage when it does. Arsenal's thrilling 1-0 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers on a chilly Saturday evening should have been a moment of celebration for Gunners everywhere. A hard-fought win, 3 crucial points, and a performance full of grit. But instead of basking in the glory of the result, Arsenal fans found themselves embroiled in yet another refereeing controversy. The focal point of this debacle? A straight red card handed to Myles Lewis-Skelly, one of Arsenal's rising stars, for a challenge that, in many eyes, was far from deserving of such a severe punishment. Referee Michael Oliver, who has come under the microscope many times in the past, showed no hesitation in brandishing the red card after Lewis-Skelly tripped Wolves' Matt Doherty in the second half. The decision didn't just confuse fans in the stadium, it sent shockwaves through the football world. What made matters worse was that the decision was reviewed by VAR, overseen by Darren England, and yet the call stood. The question that has everyone scratching their heads is simple. How did we get here? Was this a case of a referee making a mistake? Or is VAR truly as flawed as critics have long argued? It's a controversy that goes far beyond this one game and could have lasting repercussions for the Premier League. The incident in question took place in the second half of the match, with the score still at 0-0. Arsenal, after a challenging first half, was looking to control the game and push for a goal. Lewis-Skelly, who had been impressive in his role, attempted to challenge for the ball against Matt Doherty. As the two players went for the ball, Lewis-Skelly's foot made contact with Doherty's legs, sending him to the ground. There's no question that a foul was committed. The issue, however, was the nature of the foul. From every angle, it seemed like a clear and simple yellow card challenge. No studs were showing, no excessive force was used, and there was no malice in the attempt to win the ball. It was simply a clumsy, mistimed challenge, one that happens regularly in a high-intensity Premier League match. Yet, referee Michael Oliver saw fit to produce a straight red. The Emirates Stadium collectively gasped, unsure if they had witnessed a shocking decision or if it was some form of mistake that would soon be corrected. But what followed was arguably even more bewildering: VAR's involvement. After a lengthy review, which saw no clear footage to suggest a red card was warranted, the decision was upheld. The reason? Clear and obvious error wasn't deemed applicable here. To the shock of many, even after seeing the replays, the on-field decision stood. How did it come to this? Were the powers that be so entrenched in the idea of protecting players from harm that they made an overzealous call? Or was it simply a case of poor judgment that was compounded by VAR's failure to overturn it? If there was one voice that echoed the frustration of Arsenal fans, it was that of Premier League legend Alan Shearer. As a former player who has experienced countless challenges on the field, Shearer is no stranger to the nuances of refereeing decisions. Yet, in his post-match analysis, he was unequivocal in his criticism of both Oliver and VAR. Speaking on BBC's Match of the Day, Shearer remarked, "I just cannot see and work out what VAR is thinking going along with Michael Oliver's decision. No wonder it gets criticized by so many people. Shearer didn't hold back, questioning the role of VAR in this controversial decision. As a referee, you can get it wrong on the pitch. You might see something which is incorrect, he continued. But how on earth Darren England, the VAR, thinks that the referee has got that right, and there's no need to send him to the screen, is beyond me. Shearer's analysis resonated with many watching at home, as he highlighted the glaring inconsistency in refereeing decisions, especially when similar fouls have gone unpunished or warranted only a yellow card. His frustration was palpable, and it was shared by fans, pundits, and even other former players. After all, this was not an isolated incident. Arsenal supporters have grown accustomed to feeling hard done by, having witnessed similar calls go against their team over the course of a season. Shearer's comments were not just a critique of one particular moment. They were a reflection of the broader frustration that many feel with the current state of officiating in the Premier League. As always, Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta was composed in his response to the incident, but it was clear that he wasn't happy with how things had unfolded. In his post-match interview, Arteta chose his words carefully sidestepping any direct confrontation with the officials, but making it clear that the club would review the situation. "I don't want to say too much, but we will review the situation," he said. Decisions like these can have a big impact, and we have seen in the past that they can be overturned. Arteta's stance reflected the maturity and professionalism that he brings to the Arsenal dugout. He hinted that Arsenal might pursue an appeal, referencing their previous success in overturning red card decisions, most notably one involving Manchester United's Bruno Fernandes earlier in the season. Arteta's calm, yet pointed remarks spoke volumes about how seriously the club was taking the matter. It also underscored the broader issue. When refereeing mistakes happen, the consequences are often far-reaching. In this case, a player like Lewis-Skelly, who has been a bright light for Arsenal, could be unjustly sidelined due to a call that many feel was wrong from the outset. Arteta wasn't the only one to voice his discontent with the officiating. Former Premier League referee Mike Dean, no stranger to controversial decisions himself, weighed in on the situation, adding his voice to the growing chorus of criticism. Dean pointed out that Arsenal had strong grounds for an appeal, stating, "We've seen similar challenges this season go unpunished or only warrant a yellow. There is no clear and obvious reason why this should be a red." His comments were echoed by BBC's Gary Lineker, who also raised questions about the consistency of decision-making across the league. Lineker, known for his insightful commentary, commented, "This is yet another example of VAR failing to live up to its promise of consistency. It was a yellow card at worst." Dean and Lineker's criticism of the refereeing standard only served to reinforce the broader frustration felt by many fans and analysts alike. The reality is that VAR was supposed to be the solution to such issues, but as the Lewis-Skelly incident illustrates, it's clear that the technology has not eliminated the flaws in the system. Despite being reduced to 10 men, Arsenal refused to let the controversy derail their performance. The team showed remarkable resilience and discipline in the face of adversity, holding on to their slim 1-0 lead thanks to a well-taken goal by Riccardo Calafiori. With their backs against the wall, the Gunners dug deep and defended as a unit, ensuring that the victory stayed intact. This wasn't just a display of tactical intelligence. It was a testament to the team's mental fortitude and determination to push on despite the odds. The win, while overshadowed by the red card drama, was an important one for Arsenal. It keeps them firmly in the title race, a position that seemed uncertain just a few weeks ago. While it's easy to get caught up in the frustration of a poor refereeing decision, Arsenal's ability to rise above it and secure the 3 points was a crucial reminder of the team's growth under Arteta. This wasn't just about winning the game, it was about proving that they could overcome adversity when it mattered most. The controversy surrounding Lewis-Skelly's red card is only the latest in a series of incidents that have sparked widespread debate about the role of VAR in the Premier League. What was once hailed as a revolutionary tool to correct refereeing mistakes has become a source of constant frustration for fans, players, and managers alike. Inconsistencies in how VAR is applied have led many to question its effectiveness and whether it is truly fulfilling its intended purpose. Calls for reform are growing louder, with many arguing that referees need to be held more accountable for their decisions and that VAR should be used differently. Should referees be given more power to review their own decisions on the pitch? Should VAR be used for more than just clear and obvious errors? These are questions that need to be addressed if the Premier League is to restore trust in the system and give fans the sense that they are seeing fair and accurate decisions. At the end of the day, Arsenal's 1-0 victory over Wolves will be remembered for more than just the 3 points. The controversy surrounding Myles Lewis-Skelly's red card will undoubtedly be a talking point for weeks to come, with Arsenal potentially considering an appeal to have the decision overturned. Whether or not they are successful, the incident will continue to fuel the debate over VAR's role in the Premier League. One thing is certain: this decision, along with the broader issue of refereeing inconsistencies, is far from settled. Fans, pundits, and former referees alike agree that the call was a poor one. As Arsenal looks to continue their push for the title, they will need to stay focused on the pitch and not let these off-field controversies derail their momentum. But what do you think? Should Arsenal appeal the red card? Was it a fair decision, or should VAR have intervened? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions.